Why does every business podcast sound like a TED Talk?
Because nobody's letting founders just talk. And since we both love to talk and listen to other founders and their experiences, we decided to make a different kind of business podcast. I'm Stacie Staub, CEO and co-founder of Weston Main Homes and a few other businesses we've built from scratch and plan to keep.
And I'm Madie Linder, CMO and co-founder. We've been in business long enough together that there's basically nothing we won't say to each other.
With each episode, we bring in a founder who's building for the long game, and we just talk about the real decisions, the hard pivots, and the stuff that doesn't make it to the reels.
We are your best friends in business.
Your best friends in business with Stacie and Madie. The best advice you ever had, so you won't have to ask your dad. Best friends.
So this week, because of our special guest this episode, I think our catch-up has to be about the restaurant.
It definitely has to be about the restaurant. So in case you're just joining us, Stacie and I have a coffee shop that has been very successful that we decided to expand into a restaurant. And we have been in construction mode for a very long time now.
It's officially been a year.
Yep, it sure has. And I just think it's so amazing that people are still showing up to our coffee shop and it is torn.
It is absolute chaos.
It is such a mess.
It's actually offensive.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a testament to our staff that people keep filling the coffee shop. Like literally they're stepping over broken tiles. They're
covered up.
Well, yeah,
come on.
but
it's
still,
not
it
like
is
they're
not
like,
cute.
It's not
cute.
dangerous.
It's not cute right now. It just isn't. So
no, it's not.
I just so appreciate all the people that keep supporting Blue Nest and coming in for their daily latte or burrito.
And sometimes people are like, oh, we didn't even know.
We didn't notice.
And I was like, there's like plastic
like this is
over
not
the archway.
ideal.
They're clearly painting next door.
Yeah.
Can you smell it? But
the
no,
construction noise that we have had large appliances sitting on our patio for days now. And I have to say, I drove up this morning very early and some of those appliances weren't there. And I literally, my heart skipped 10 beats. And I was like, unlocking the door, like, please be in there, please be in there. And they were. And it turned out Sam, our manager, had the same fear that all of that was going to get stolen.
Yes.
So he took them all in.
Yes.
So anyway, thanks to our staff, thanks to, our customers.
Yes. Thank you for showing up. Even though being a small business, it's hard. It's hard out there.
We couldn't just shut down for clearly
even
a month, even a day.
So we're trying to make it work while still being open for you guys, even though it's been a little clunky.
Yeah. So by the time this airs, we'll have been open for a while and we can't wait to tell you all about it.
Best friends.
Most restaurant groups grow until they can't grow anymore. Jen Jasinski grew for 20 years and then she chose to shrink it. She trained under Wolfgang Puck, designing kitchens for some of the biggest restaurant brands in the country before she'd ever opened one of her own. In 2004, she and her business partner, Beth Gruitch, decided it was time to bet on themselves. Shortly after, they opened Rioja in Denver's historic Larimer Square, back when Larimer Square wasn't yet the destination it is today.
From there came Bistro Vendome, Euclid Hall, Stoic and Genuine, and Ultrea. 5 restaurants, 2 decades, a James Beard Award, a Top Chef Masters run, and a reputation as one of the chefs who built Denver's modern food scene from the ground up. And then, in 2025, right as Rioja turned 20, Jen and Beth did something that growth-minded founders don't. They stepped back. They closed a restaurant, handed off 2 more to the next generation, and refocused entirely on the place where it all began. Thank you, Jen, so much for being here. We know you're so busy, and we know that because we've been working with you for the last few months.
Yes.
And scheduling the 3 of us has, not always been easy, and we just always appreciate your time so much. So.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for
thank
having me as
you.
part of this podcast.
Yeah, of course. So let's start at the beginning, thinking about how you were working for Wolfgang Puck, and then tell us, I know you went to the Culinary Institute, right?
Mm-hmm.
So take us back.
Well, I was at the CIA in Hyde Park, New York, when it was the only one. So I graduated in 89. So I'm dating myself. But yeah, after working for a couple of years in Manhattan, I wanted to go back to California, where I was from. And at the time, in 1990, I just looked up who the best chef was. And I wanted to work for Wolfgang Puck.
Yeah.
And he didn't hire me right away, but I kept at it, So I just kept at it until finally I'm tenacious. And you got to be tenacious if you want to be in this industry. And, finally got a job. And I got lucky to work with him when he only had 2 restaurants, Spago and Chinois. So we only had 2 restaurants, and he was growing fast. And so it was a really cool time to be a part of his group then, and on the ground floor of a lot of really cool things.
Oh, so amazing. I remember his first restaurant in Denver. What was that called?
Oh yeah, it was a cafe. It was a Wolfgang Puck cafe at the Pavilions.
Yes. Oh, I used to love to go there. I had a baby in a stroller, and I would treat myself like wear that baby out downtown and then treat myself to a little cocktail and then walk home to Cheeseman Park. So that like really takes me back.
Nice.
Yeah. And I just think about like all of your restaurants and the place that of like memories that I have in all of them over so many years. I worked in Larimer Square at around that same time, and worked at Comedy Works. I was a cocktail waitress.
Awesome.
And like just remember like haunting those places and saving up money to be able to eat. And the restaurants in Larimer Square was like the thing. So it was just it became such a destination, like largely in part to your restaurants.
When I moved here in 2000, so I moved here in 2000 from California, and I worked at Pinzano for almost 4 years. And I just kept driving by Larimer Square every night thinking, I want my restaurant there, and I wanted that corner where Z Gallery was.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
But then finally, a couple of people put me in touch with Jeff Hermanson, the owner of Larimer Square at the time, and he wanted us there too. And we just made a cool deal, So we got lucky. We had good timing. I had good people helping me out. Luck is a big part of this business too, besides being smart and surrounding yourself with smart people.
Yeah. And I know we've talked because Madie and I have gotten to know you fairly well over the last few months as you've been helping us with our restaurant expansion. And you've talked a lot about Beth. So how did you meet?
Yeah, Beth and I met at Pinzano.
Okay.
So yeah, I got hired to be the executive chef, and that restaurant was already open about 6 to 8 months. And Beth was the general manager at the time. And it was in a big state of turmoil. And the company, the Kimpton Group, they had a lot of restaurants, quality restaurants at the time, hired me. And we came in and we just hit it off. I respected a lot of respect, mutual respect. It turned into, best friends. And 26 years later, we're still together as business partners, which 26 years is a long time to be in any relationship.
Yeah. So
amazing.
That's great.
It's like a pretty natural, like kismet thing. Like you're back of the house. She's more like back end, like
front. Yeah. She run the front floor when we first started, and I run the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like literally. Now things have evolved, but it was just the two of us in that restaurant every night, hustling and jiving and doing what we had to do. And so it was great. Yeah.
And so when you were thinking about, is that when you were thinking about starting your own thing and then you talked to Beth and said, hey, want to do this with me?
We were at Pinzano for almost 4 years together, and we felt good about our relationship. We really turned that restaurant from a loser into like the star of the whole company. And we were like, we are making these other people money, which is great, but why don't we do this for ourselves and be our own boss? And Wolfgang had always wanted me to do that. When I came to Denver, he was a little upset at me at first that I didn't just open my own restaurant. But I had a plan. I wanted to get to know Denver. Did I like Denver? Did I want to stay here? Get to know what the clientele was like? Make a name for myself and then open a restaurant. So I thought I had a good plan and I stuck to it. And Beth was the right one to do that with. And so Rioja really is this culmination of my dream restaurant, why I'm back there again, And actually, if you look at the kind of formula of what we did there and how the menu reads and everything, it's a lot like the original Spago was. It really is a lot like that kind of formula.
It's so special. We've both eaten there recently and can't wait to go back, obviously.
Yeah.
I've eaten there so many times over the years and just enjoyed so many special experiences. It's like top of mind when I think like, where do I want to go for something special and like elevated, and happened onto a patio table the other night. It was awesome.
Nice.
I think that I was just there recently celebrating our anniversary, and Larimer Square had a buzz that it hasn't had in a really long
So
time
happy
since
for it to be back.
pre-COVID.
I know.
And it felt cool, and everybody was out, and there was music, and it was beautiful out. And of course, we had the best meal, and Rioja was packed on a Monday night.
Yeah,
and that's a huge testament to you.
We're
after
very
20
thankful
years.
for the good clientele we have and our good reputation in town. I'm very thankful to our guests. And yeah, it's hard to hold on for the long haul.
Yeah.
To make it in the restaurant business for 21 years, 2 years, let alone 21 years, but it's been an up and down road. We had our ups and downs, good and bad, but we stuck through it and kept fighting, you know, and relevancy is a thing, you know, like asking yourself in business, how do you stay relevant is something that I think is one of the core values that we have. And you can't sit on your laurels of what you always did. Even if you did something for 10 years and thought it was right for 10 years, maybe in year 11, it's not right anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a really important thing for people to learn. You know, like at year 10, we completely gutted and remodeled the restaurant. And that was the right thing to do. It was a hard dollar pill to swallow, but now I think it's carrying us for the next 20 years. It's going to be, you know, fantastic. Boss Architecture did that. So
Yeah. And I think like it does feel very fresh whenever you're in there. It never feels like, oh yeah, same old.
No.
Like the menu is evolving. Like even the wine list is constantly changing. I can always go in there and find a new glass. And I think that is also like key to having people come back and like have that like loyal clientele. And I think too, testament to Larimer Square's operators and like deciding to keep the street shut down, I think was a key decision. Like, how did you feel like that affected your business?
You know, ups and downs at the time. So in case people don't know, Larimer Square was sold. Jeff Hermanson owned it for more than 20 years, and he sold it to the Asana partners. And that was a rough transition for a while. Jeff lived here. He was on the square. He's also one of my partners. So I could go across the street and talk to the owner of Larimer Square about what was happening. Yeah. Like, hey, this is really happening. And they were right there and cared about it. It took a while for us to get a good relationship. Not we had a bad relationship with Asana, but just a relationship with somebody who wasn't here, an out-of-state landlord. And also, I think they came in with ideas of what they thought it'd be like. And it took them a couple years to understand that maybe it's not the same in Denver.
Yeah.
So now I think it is vibrant. It is great. It has come back. Lots of great places are still going to open up. So it's been a journey. And we have stuck it out the whole time in the center. And, you know, it's been an up and down journey, but we're still here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when we think about expansion, like eventually you grew to 5 different concepts.
Super different, which is the hard way, which is super hard way. Like if you're in the restaurant business and you open 5 completely different concepts, you're probably dumb like me. No. But I mean, you know, like finding a formula and then recreating it and then fine-tuning it is much easier than creating something completely new from scratch.
Yeah.
But I always had this mindset of in growth, like when we find a location, it's always about location. Find a location that we think is cool. We always would ask ourselves, what does this location want? And that's how we decided what to put there, what we thought the location needed or missed or wanted versus what my ego said I wanted. And that's kind of how we drove what was happening. So that's kind of how we grew, which is, I think, very kind of backwards and strange from a lot of other people when they're like, no, I have this concept. Let's roll out a second Rioja. Let's roll out, a third thing. So
it's really community minded.
But it is. And we love Denver. And, you know, like I know I'm not from here originally, but I've been here 26 years. I think I count as a, you know.
Oh, no, you're local. You're local.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think I count.
And along the way, tell us about when you met Max.
Yeah, my husband, Max, we met, oh my gosh, I want to say in 2006. Yeah, one of my sous chefs at the time, Merlin Verrier, he had a friend and Max was working in Breckenridge. And he came down for Merlin's birthday and there was a big table of all these guys. And I was like, who's that hot guy? Who's that? You know? But he introduced us and we just became friends for like the first year. We didn't date for a while. And then that was nice. I just got to know him and then he decided to move to Denver. So yeah, he's a chef. He's great. He's amazingly talented. So,
but you guys have never done a concept together.
No. Two strong personalities. We would kill each other. It would not be good. I love and respect him. He loves and respects me. But in the kitchen, it's like, there's a reason why kitchen hierarchy, I think, is the way it is. There's 2 bosses is one too many boss.
Yes.
So
too many cooks in the kitchen.
Every kitchen I'm in, I'm the boss.
Yes.
And that's it. So, and Max is the boss in his kitchens. So then we butt heads. So, but that's okay.
I love how you guys collaborate with each other because we were lucky enough to go to Jen's house for a tasting of the menu that she's putting together for us. And it was a real pinch me moment for me. And like, I kind of felt like I was somehow in an episode of Top Chef, like behind the scenes,
Yeah.
like just hearing your voice and all the care with the food. And it was really cool to see you guys interact because he was like, oh, what are you doing with this?
Yeah.
You know, and like it was still your menu. You guys were still collaborating in like a really cool way.
He's a wealth of knowledge. And like I'll tell anybody when they wanted to get into business with somebody is if somebody thinks exactly like you, they're probably not the right business partner. Like you want to have the same values, you want to have the same goal in mind, or the same vision of but you want somebody who's going to challenge you, at least I think you do, and also give you different ideas or different point of view, or maybe even debate against your side just to pull something apart. Like I know sometimes that's uncomfortable and sometimes Beth and I will get uncomfortable, but only in that, you know, like, because we think very differently, but in a positive way for our relationship for the restaurants. We think very differently. She sees things that I don't see. I blow them off. That's not important. And she's like, no, this is important. And vice versa.
Yeah.
So Max and I do have that together, and that is nice.
Yeah, I think like having those opposite skill sets too.
Yeah.
Like in lanes, that's one thing that Madie and I have. It took us a while to figure out like, ooh, like that is Maddie's lane. Like she gets the final call on that.
Yeah.
This is my lane. She's going to stay away from this decision. Like I get the final call.
Like
And
I can make input or she makes input, but I know at the end of the day, it's like, that's my call or her call.
It took Beth and I some years of hard fights to get through that and find those lanes.
Yeah,
So I hear you. And that is so important to have boundaries on what that is, but then also be able to say, hey, I know this is your lane, but can we talk about this? And that's healthy. But yeah, it took us some hard times to then go, nope, that's Beth's lane.
Yeah.
Nope, that's Jen's lane.
Yes.
So I feel you.
Yeah, like
I
one of
feel
the
ya.
first things they tell you in business school is never have a 50-50 partnership. And there always has to be like someone who breaks the tie and someone who gets that final decision. And it sounds like you and Beth have kind of settled on the same strategy that Madie and I have had, is like her decision, my decision, you know? And like it's really a problem now. We really feel like we share a brain.
Yeah. Like
I have
you
that same-
probably notice it when you text us. It's like the same things are happening.
Well, texting you at the same time.
Yeah,
Same
no,
words.
I have the same. I have a couple of chefs who I'm very thankful who have been with me 18, 19, 20 years, 4 or 5 of my group. And in particular, Gabe, who's my executive chef at Rioja, we literally can answer each other's questions and finish each other's sentences. And when I can't spit out a word, he spits out what I'm trying to say. And it's like so funny. I'm like, you speak Jennifer. Thank you. So like, that's literally what I call it, that he speaks Jennifer.
I love that.
It does make things easier. So when you first opened Rioja, like thinking back to that, were you even back then in the mindset like eventually I'll have a ton of restaurants? And like how big did you want to get?
It's funny, I never had that mindset. Like when I opened Rioja, it was all Rioja, and this was my culmination of my dreams, and let's just see what happens. And then some of the people surrounding me, I think including Beth also, and my partner Jeff Hermanson at the time, wanted us to grow because they saw that we were very successful and smart, and we were also good business people. A lot of chef and restaurateurs aren't great business people. They haven't been taught the business side of it. And I got lucky enough with Wolfgang my last few years with the Wolfgang Puck Food Company, his cafes and his other kind of the offset of his fine dining. I got to learn the business really thoroughly with Frank Gadara. And people know his son, Will Gadara. He's of, Madison Park fame, but his father was the man. So I got really lucky, besides Wolfgang, to learn from Frank. So
so it's hard to resist that pressure to grow, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had a couple investors at the time who were like, no, don't grow. You're going to never be the same at Rioja. And I'm like, I think we can do it. But that's another reason why we grew slow, because I didn't want to feel like we weren't in control. So some people and some have this grandiose vision of all these things and then to sell it. But everything we opened was very personal. And some of that is to a fault. Like maybe I should dissuade people from being that personal about it, because closing Euclid Hall in March of the pandemic, that hurt our soul.
Yeah.
We probably should have closed it 2 months earlier, but we had a great 10-year run, but it was, man, it's hard.
That's hard. I still miss that place.
It's your baby.
It's your baby.
Yeah, you still think about like that. It was so unique. The concept was like nothing else in Denver
That
for
building
sure. But the building, so the perfect location, and it was that spot where you could always get a table, and like you really felt like you could find your space at the bar and taste something totally different than anywhere else.
And the menu and the vibe and the time, like we just hit when the iron was hot. And that, again, was something, it was inspired by a concept that we did with Wolfgang called Eureka. It was a full brewery. And then we had the restaurant next door to it. And I opened and closed it in 2 years. But it was like one of my favorite things. And we had a sausage master from Germany come over and teach us all like how to make things very classically. And there's like laws in Germany of how to make sausage. Like you don't just,
make sausage.
Oh, that sausage flight at Euclid Hall was it.
Yeah.
Best friends.
This episode is brought to you by Upton Residences.
Picture living in downtown Denver. Your favorite restaurants, coffee shops, concerts, all just steps away.
That's Upton, Denver's newest high-rise at 18th and Glenarm, with floor-to-ceiling windows and views of the city and mountains.
Plus a rooftop pool, fitness center, co-working spaces, social lounges. Upton's all about living above the ordinary. Find out more and schedule a tour at uptonresidences.com. So now it's time for our founder-to-founder question. This one's kind of a twofer. So it is, if you were to do this all again, opening your first restaurant, or you could choose whichever one of the restaurants you'd like, what would you do the same and what would you do differently?
So, I'm kind of one that doesn't think that I would do anything different, not because it was right, but because there was lessons along the way that I had to learn. And I didn't know what those lessons were until they were presented to me. So I do think, and this also came from Frank Adera, that every speed bump or whatever is an opportunity. It's not necessarily, you can take it as a bad thing. You can take it as the worst thing in the whole world that happens to you, or you could take it as an opportunity to maybe change. And in the end, that's what we did with COVID, is we pivoted and did a bunch of things that maybe we should have done to the restaurants before. And maybe we learned some lessons. And so I think I had to learn the lessons along the way. And then if I skip over that, then I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't be the same person I am today. So I'd like to say nothing, but not from a cocky reason that I think I did everything right.
Yeah.
If that's clear.
No,
I don't want people to think like, I did everything right.
I feel that for sure. And that's something that we think about a lot. Like we have at West of Main, for example, like we've kept our business model the same from the beginning. And we've been having a lot of conversations with you about the business model of the restaurant and how is the staff compensated. And there's a lot of conversations around that, I think nationwide, but especially in Denver because of the atmosphere here. And we've talked about how, a lot of restaurants are closing and are we crazy for opening one? I don't know. But it feels like we'll be able to take care of people and like do it very intentionally and strategically and hopefully not, have to shift it a bunch of times because we know that the staff, that's really hard on them. So we know your advice for opening a restaurant right now, but if you were talking to someone you didn't know and they were like, what do I need to know about opening a restaurant in Denver right now? Like, what would you say?
Well, in Denver, I would say that it's very tight. The economics are very tight. The cost of labor is the second or third highest in the whole country in Denver. And that is really a thing. It's something to be looked at. You guys in Lakewood are $4 an hour cheaper.
Yeah.
And that is a giant thing. Now, maybe it'll go up, who knows what'll happen. But the economics, also the commercial leases, people want a lot. The property taxes in Denver are sky high, and that all gets pushed to the tenant. So I have told people a couple things, and like occupancy, like with everything all in, with your rent and your CAM charges if you have any, and all the types of occupancy stuff, I tell people to keep it 7%, 7.5 tops. And if it gets above that, then you're getting yourself into some hot water because you can only do so much. You're only control of like your food cost, your liquor, beer, wine cost. All these other things are, I can't change my rent with my landlord and be like, hey, this
like,
month.
I'd like it cheaper. That'd be cool.
So just, so you have to be careful what you sign because there's just so many things. And then also just to surround yourself with smart people. If you don't know something, get somebody on your staff who knows something different than you. And coming back to that original conversation, we talked about having people with different skills. I think it's super important to have somebody who thinks different than you. But knowing the city and county of Denver regulations is a full-time job now.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say this, like the next time you go out to eat, think about all that. Like,
Yeah.
it is very hard to keep a restaurant open these days. It's super expensive to open one, as we are
Oh, yeah.
finding out.
Oh, yeah.
And
I remember Jen being like, it's going to cost this much. And I was like, oh, but we're like cheap. So maybe we could cut. No, it does.
It does.
Costs,
Yeah.
It costs actually the exact amount Jen tells you it's going to cost.
For sure. And also, like, I think some grace and patience around like a service charge or a tip line,
Yes.
or whatever that looks like. Like,
It's
not
hard to
if
keep
you
the
don't
people
have
too.
the full picture of like
Mhm.
how that rolls down within the restaurant and who those servers have to tip out and how is the kitchen compensated and then all of that. So unless you want to pay $50 for a cocktail, like here we
Right.
are.
Yeah.
So
And the thing in Denver too, because stuff isn't litigated, like everybody has to do service charge, let's say. It's not. So my restaurant shares tips with cooks. Next door restaurant doesn't. Somebody else does a service charge. We do things 3 different ways. And then
Yeah.
people, we're not all the same. And like
Yeah.
you said, some grace on like how people pay for different things. But no one's making some killing in the restaurant. And if they
No.
are, I mean, there's probably a few at the top maybe who
mhm.
are, but they're not the normal average people like making a killing. Like you said, we closed Stoic and Genuine.
yeah.
And we had a great run, 10 years with that, but the last year it lost a chunk of money,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that having your immense wealth of knowledge has been so both overwhelming and priceless to us. So thank you. And thank you for sharing very transparently with our podcast listeners today. And we hope that everyone will go have a lovely meal at Rioja
Yes.
or El Trella and or any locally owned restaurant,
Exactly.
honestly.
Yeah,
Like,
people can complain about chains all the time. And it's
Mhm.
like, if you don't want chains, don't go to chains.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
totally.
Best friends.
This episode is brought to you by West Main Homes.
Weston Main is an independently owned, woman-founded real estate brokerage known for its collaborative approach, exceptional client care, and deep commitment to the communities it serves.
With agents across multiple states, West Main helps buyers, sellers, and investors navigate real estate with confidence, creativity, and a people-first approach.
Wherever you're thinking of moving, anywhere in the country, Weston Main will be happy to connect you with the perfect agent. Connect with us at westonmainhomes.com. As you grew to 5 concepts, and then you decided to scale back. So
Yeah.
tell us about that.
I think the pandemic chewed me up and spit me out a bit hard.
Yeah.
Like it's so funny, I'm silver haired, much like my mom, and I like it, but I literally went white haired in those couple of years of the pandemic. Like
Yeah.
I was just kind of more
Well, you couldn't
normal.
go to the salon.
Yeah. Oh my God. But like every day I thought I was going to lose all 5 businesses. We literally, except for like the 4 core people, we laid everybody off. I mean,
Yeah.
that hurt
Yeah.
to lay. We had 500 employees at the time,
Oof.
and it was just a painful experience then getting people back up and then the regulations changing and coming and going. And you could do
Yeah.
this with a piece alone. You could do that. You could change. We could do this, so we weathered it with a lot of help from smart people.
Mhm.
But I think it chewed me up a little bit and spit me out a little bit. And I also realized, wow, I've been working really hard, literally since I was 16 or 15 and had my first job at Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Okay. To now, and maybe stepping back might be cool to,
Yeah.
I'm surrounded by wonderful humans that have been around me. Let them do it.
Yeah, totally. But then skip ahead a little bit and now you're kind of doing some consulting work and
Yeah.
helping other restaurateurs figure it out. So you did a big project before ours. And when Madie and I were looking, we were like, we really need help with this restaurant.
Mhm.
Yeah,
we
don't.
figured out
Yeah.
the coffee shop.
Yeah.
It was painful.
It was a low roll.
We can't do that again. And so Madie started asking around, does anyone know a restaurant consultant? And when your name came up, I was jaw on the floor. I was like, Jen Jasinski?
I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was just in awe.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, it was
I
right
felt
place,
so
right
grateful.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right place, right
I'm
time.
grateful and
Grateful every
truly
day.
believe that for
Yeah.
sure. But is this something that you're looking to do in the future?
Yeah. I mean, I think very picky with the people I want to work with, because I want to work with people that I respect and respect me, and also that I think are good humans, because I think life's too short to,
Agree.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Evan Makovsky a long time ago is you can't do a good deal with a bad person, and you can't usually do a bad deal with a good person. And
Oh.
I've used that as my guide, and yeah, so I just want to work with good people.
That's a good
But
grade.
yes,
Oh,
I
shit,
do.
that might have been her mantra.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. But, so, the Crafted Concepts, where Beth and I and a couple of other my chefs did a big group for the Monarch Casino, big consulting thing for them. And then, this is just something more that I'm doing. And it's been fun, just some chef food consulting for you and hopefully get you guys some delicious stuff coming out.
We can't wait.
Well, it
Yeah.
was definitely, like Madie said, like a surreal moment sitting in your home the other day, like so beautiful. And you and Max kind of like bumping around the kitchen and he's just washing dishes for you and, kind of looking over your shoulder, like, what are you doing with the pickles?
What's going on with these?
And it was just like, later that night, you had sent me home with some ingredients and I was like, okay, I'm going to remake this Jasinski salad for my family. And I was like, I need a protein. I literally made your salad, which was so elevated and beautiful, and warmed up some chicken tenders.
Well, good.
And it was amazing.
I'm sure it's still delicious.
I was like, how is this my life right now? So funny, but I think it is so illustrative of just like where we're all at and where like entrepreneurism can take you and having like these moments of just like, now I can do this because I did this, and like I've worked so hard, I've earned this balance and now I get to do some fun stuff. So
yeah, I mean, Adam Brands, he runs Ultrea. He was with me forever. He's brilliant. I love him. Tim Kuklinski runs Bistro Vendome. Again, he was 19, 20 years with me.
Wow.
Gabe has been with me 18 years. He runs Rioja, even though I still go cook at Rioja because I just love it. I just can't get away from that place. I love it. Planting flowers and herbs and making sure it looks pretty. And I don't know, I love the crew.
You can feel the love there.
Yeah.
I think. True.
And I love working with the cooks and just getting to teach them stuff. So I love that kind of stuff still.
Yeah.
So,
But at the same time, you get to get away to Santa Monica.
Yeah,
kind of
Santa
your home
Barbara.
away- Santa Barbara. You're home away from home.
Yep.
And take your lovely doggo with you.
Yes.
And like, what a wonderful life you've built for yourself. So
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you. Working on it.
It's been a really common thread throughout this whole first season as we've been interviewing, business owners, founders, and really trying to keep it local and like talking to people who have survived many years in the business. And the passion is like it. And I don't think anyone that we've interviewed has been in it to make $1 billion.
No.
So,
No, certainly not.
Yeah. And like, I don't know that anyone has even had like a really strong exit plan.
No.
So we're just all here walking the walk and talking the talk. So thank you so much, Jen,
thank you for having
being
me.
here.
Thank you.
We have a tradition of ending the podcast with our weekly mantra. So Madie will share ours.
Okay.
And then if you'll think of no pressure, but if you've got a little saying that you'd like to share, you've already dropped a couple.
Yeah,
Okay.
you've dropped some
I have a
really
few
good
things I
ones.
like, but it depends on what, level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is one my dad says a lot and I use with my kids a lot. And it's, if you're going to be stupid, you better be strong.
Yes.
So
There's a couple
if you're
country
going
songs that
to
play that
be
too.
stupid, you better be willing to buck it up and be strong about your decisions.
Yes.
So that's what I'm feeling this week.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Such a good one.
Well, I don't know. I haven't thought that I have a mantra or anything. I mean, I tell my cooks, I'm like, I can't pay you to give a shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, because they ask me like, Chef Jen, how do you set yourself apart? How do you do this, do that? And I'm like, care, like genuinely care, be
Actually
be
care.
eagerly want to learn. Like there's something always out there to learn. So I think one of my mantras is I love what I still can learn so much in this business every day. It doesn't matter if it's from a dishwasher or my husband or everybody in between. There's always something to learn in this business that you never get done learning. And I love that. So
I love
Stay
that.
curious.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's amazing.
yeah.
I find that to be true on a very daily
Across
basis.
all industries.
Across all
Yeah,
industries.
I mean, really,
For sure.
Just
for
staying
sure.
open-minded is a
Yeah.
good thing, right?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you so much. And we can't wait to eat at Rioja again.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Your best friends in business with Stacie and Madie. The best advice you ever had, so you won't have to ask your dad. Best friends.
That's all for this episode of Your Best Friends in Business. Follow Your Best Friends in Business on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave a review if you can. It helps new listeners find the show. Your Best Friends in Business is produced by Weston Main Homes in partnership with Pod People. Special thanks to our friend Dave Christie for the music.